Hey friends, it's Allison. I am back with another video just in the nick of time before my vacation. Today I had a lot of fun foiling with BetterPress plates. These are from Spellbinders and they have been coming out with so many new plates ever since they came out with the BetterPress system. So there's a new collection, the Halloween collection, and I have a couple plates from that collection that I'll be using today. And these are really fun. And then I also have a couple plates from last month's release, which was the Christmas collection. So I'm going to use the one on the left. That's kind of the main attraction of this video. The one on the right, I have foiled, but I have not gotten a chance to finish that card yet. And finally, we have the Sentiments of Wonder. So this is a huge set of sentiments and matching dies. This is from the Envelopes of Wonder collection, and I think they have stamps that are just like this, but without the dies. So we're going to make some quick Halloween cards. I have this piece of scrapbook paper. I don't scrapbook, so I don't know why I have this in my stash, but I decided to put even more words on it. It had all these little Halloween words, and I used this BetterPress plate and some black opaque foil. And I will show you how I foil with the BetterPress plates. I did some of this off camera. But remember, foil, well, if you didn't know, foil resists ink. So I'm coming in with some distress ink just to add some color to this background. And I'm using purple and orange, which are fun Halloween colors, but they're not very fun when they mix. So I'm just kind of keeping them separate. And again, I used black opaque foil. The opaque foils are my favorite, the black and the white. I use them both a lot. Okay, this is a flat shaker. I kind of skipped over the beginning. I am now sealing up the third side so that I can fill my shaker. I will link to a video at the end of this one showing you how I make these, but I've made them so many times in videos I didn't want you to get completely bored. So here's one of my little containers of sequins. I have about 6 or 8 of these in a drawer. These are from the Container Store. And I'm just kind of, I don't know, some of these big sequins kind of stick together, so I was using my spoon to break them apart. So again, I had mentioned I was going to kind of breeze through this. My shaker's done, and now I have some score tape on the back, and I'm going to secure it down to my card base. And I mean, this was a super easy card to put together. Infinity shakers or flat shakers, whatever you want to call them, couldn't be any easier, but look how cute that is. I love this background, and I think it's cool that the scrapbook background had a bunch of words on it too. So here's the other background. And again, I said I love white opaque foil, and that's what I did. I foiled it onto gray cardstock with white opaque foil. All right, so I told you I would show you some foiling on screen. So these are BetterPress plates. These are not foil plates, but I am using that black opaque foil, and I am using my glimmer machine, and I will hot foil with these plates. Now, I don't have a shim in between my plates, or my plastic shims over to the left, and I always have a shim. I was just kind of testing things out, and you'll see I decided to put it back in. And that's why I always tape my plates and my foil to the paper, because I was able to just kind of fasten it back. As soon as I noticed that it wasn't a perfect foiling, I could just put it back in place and put it through my glimmer machine again. And now I have perfect foiled sentiments, and I now have perfectly die cut sentiments. So to finish this quick card, I'm using the Gnome Drive Halloween die set. Now you may have seen the Gnome Drive collection. So many cute die sets in this collection. I have probably all of them except the gnome. Uh, Spellbinders, I guess, ran out and they sent me all of these little add-on parts to the collection. So I have to get my hands on the main set because I am crazy about gnomes. So beware, because pretty soon when I get my hands on it, there's going to be gnomes everywhere. So I have this cat from that Gnome Drive Halloween set, and I'm making a little hat for it. And while I was talking, I was just gluing my bright green eyes onto the cat. And there's my sentiment from the Sentiments of Wonder, from me to Boo. And again, super quick card. And now we're going to get to the main star. This is the Chic Merry Christmas BetterPress plate. I showed that to you at the beginning. And again, my favorite white opaque foil. Now, what's under it is a piece of acetate. This is heat resistant acetate. And I have cut it into, it's A2 sized. So 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. I'm laying my foil on top of the acetate with the shiny side facing the plate, the BetterPress plate, and I'm going to tape it all down. Again, I almost always tape my plates and my foil to the paper, or in this case, acetate, so that it doesn't shift. And I do have my shim back in there. I always just have a folded piece of copy paper in between my plastic shims. I just find that my machine needs it. So just if you have a machine and you're not sure, just experiment with or without a shim. So let's see if this worked. This is my first time foiling on acetate, and look at that. It's gorgeous. Now the M and the H in the Christmas had very fine lines on part of those letters, and those did not foil, but I wasn't really going to use that Christmas anyway. I was always planning to cover it up, so you'll see that in a second. Here I'm just showing you the difference between a glimmer foil plate on the left and the BetterPress plates on the right. Here I was just trying to see if one was heavier than the other. But really, aside from color and probably the depth of the plate, I don't know. This is the Pine Sprays hot foil plate. I had just showed that to you, and I foiled it onto blue cardstock with cobalt blue foil. And look how pretty that looks with the acetate over it. So here is the sentiment. I had said I was going to cover that Christmas, and this is what I'm going to cover it with. These are new glimmer plates with these sentiments, and you hot foil them all at once, and then you die cut them all at once. And I love that. So I was just going to test and make sure that this little banner, it was big enough to cover the Christmas. And it is. That's not the actual sentiment I'm going to use, but I was just testing it. So at this point, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, but now I'm kind of figuring it out as I'm going along. I have this A2 top folding card, and I'm going to take it to my paper trimmer and cut off basically the front of it, except for a 1/2 inch at the top. So that little flap at the top is a 1/2 inch. And so this is my general idea. And I had also cut another 1/2 inch strip. I thought maybe I would put it at the bottom, but at the end I decided not to do that. So I have this score tape. This is pretty wide score tape. It's a little less than a 1/2 inch wide. And I'm putting that on the back of the flap on my card base. And again, like right now I wasn't completely sure what I was doing, but I will take the acetate and I will secure that to that little flap. Look how good that looks on red. I almost was tempted to ditch that blue panel, but but in the end, it looks really cool with the blue. So I'm just using my bone folder to kind of, press down and make sure that that tape is secure. So now that that is done, now we can add the blue panel. And I'm just kind of lining it up. And again, I'll use more of that thick score tape. So why am I foiling with BetterPress plates? You might be asking. Well, one, because I can. Because you can. And I feel like most of us have glimmer machines already, and they're coming out with so many cool BetterPress plates. You might see one and think, "Oh, I wish they made that in a hot foil plate." Well, you can hot foil with them. And I've also done videos where you can hot foil with a regular die. I just believe in stretching your supplies as much as possible. And also, I think a lot of us don't have the BetterPress system yet. So that's why I chose to foil today. So I cut a little banner out of red cardstock and offset that sentiment with the red banner just to pull in a little bit more red on the front. Remember, I was going to add that little 1/2-inch strip at the bottom, but I didn't really love the look of it. But I did want to kind of tie in a little bit of red at the bottom. So there's the front, and then I also pulled in some red on the inside, and you'll see in a second. So here you can see I'm lifting the acetate, and there's that gorgeous foiled background with that cobalt blue foil. And here's the inside. So I also foiled the sentiment with red foil on the inside. This is from A Merry Little Christmas Sentiments. This is from that collection from Janos Mikula, and I've been using that a lot lately. So here's the final card, and it took me a while to figure out how to photograph it. It was kind of hard because of all the shine, but I love it. It was so fun, and it kind of just came together on its own. I hadn't really thought it completely out as I was going along, but I guess it worked out in the end. Thanks so much for watching today. And again, I will be gone for a week, so I will see you when I get back. And I thank you very much. Bye-bye.